People also ask phrases are one of the best ways that you can start building quick organic traffic wins for a new website. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a free tool that I recently discovered that you can use for your own sites to figure out exactly what are the best questions that people are asking related to your niche. By the end of this video, you're going to be able to sign up for this tool and start using it in finding some great long tail phrases to create content for. The tool for today is AlsoAsked.com. It's a tool that essentially looks through Google for all the different people also ask phrases and questions that people are typing in around a particular topic and tries to output some of the related phrases for you. So I've found it personally helpful when it comes to digging into certain phrases in different niches where I have websites to see if I've covered everything under the sun around a particular topic in that niche. It can also be great, especially when you are trying to figure out exactly what to do when clustering keywords together. So if you have no idea as to how this keyword relates to that keyword, then AlsoAsked.com can be a great way for you to dig into that and get an initial screening of how those keywords might go together. At the time of this recording, AlsoAsked is currently in a beta mode, and they're actually offering up to 1,000 free searches for you to check out their site. So that's something that I did. I created a free account on their site, and you can do so using the link in the video description below. Once you've gone ahead and done that, the next step is for you to have some sort of topic that you want to input in and then see exactly what the results are going to be. For the sake of this example, let's say that we run an authoritative soccer site and we want to learn exactly what sort of topics people might be asking Google when it comes to different things about soccer. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to jump into AlsoAsked.com and we're just going to type in soccer. The first place we're going to start here is we're going to do soccer, and then the language, English, and then for region, I choose the United States, but obviously adjust this to wherever you are currently looking. And then from there, what AlsoAsked is going to do is it's going to output for us what are some of the things that people are also asking related to soccer. And then from here, what you can do is you can start to dig into more of the phrases as you go further down the rabbit hole around the particular niche you're in. So from here, what you can tell is that AlsoAsked.com is trying to cluster these keywords together for you so that you know exactly what sort of content you need to create. So what this means is that in this case, if we were to write some sort of post around what is the meaning behind soccer, there are often questions that follow that sort of question along the lines of what does FIFA stand for, what do British people call American football, and so on. All these things that are semantically closely related to the meaning behind soccer. I've tested a few different phrases in AlsoAsked, and sometimes it's a complete hit or miss as to whether or not they are clustering things properly. However, I still think it's a great tool to use because first of all, it's free, and then secondly, they're doing the best job they can for right now in terms of trying to give you some semblance of order from all the chaos of the questions that people are always asking around these phrases. Once you've gone ahead and put in your superordinate phrase though, what might be helpful is to use some of your other searches to dig deeper into particular topics. So let's say, for example, we wanted to look at something like the meaning behind soccer. So instead, I'm going to say meaning behind soccer, and I'm going to go ahead and type that in. And then from here, what I'm going to get are all of the phrases specifically going down that branch a little bit further. So you can see here, the meaning behind soccer leads to things like what is the real meaning of soccer? What can soccer represent? How did the term soccer come out? And so on. So what I advise you to do is as you are starting to use AlsoAsked.com to get some keyword ideas, what I want you to do is go down the branches and then search for the branches next to see exactly what it's coming out with from that particular branch. That way you can actually build a truly authoritative piece of content around that particular phrase. In the case where you don't want to type anything in from your initial search, you can just keep clicking the plus signs in order to conduct a new search. So let's say, for example, you're here and I wanted to dig into something like, what is the most popular pass in soccer? All I do is click the plus button, and then from there, AlsoAsked is going to go ahead and search that query for me. And when I zoom out here, you can see that we've now gone down the branch of what is the most popular pass in soccer, and you can see the other things that come out here. So what's the most popular type of pass in soccer, which is a very similar phrase. What is the most simple pass in soccer? What is a good pass in soccer? Or what is the most critical moves in soccer? So if I were thinking about this sort of post, just zooming out for a second, what I'd be thinking about is if I wanted to make the ultimate guide behind what the most popular pass in soccer is, I would probably have to cover something around the simple passes, the more advanced passes, as well as what are some of the critical or special moves in soccer around passing. then that sort of gives me a better idea as to what is the search intent behind people that are looking for some sort of results around the best or most simple passes in soccer. By using this tool to look at the branches within another branch, you essentially come up with all of your key headers. And then you can use these headers when it comes to starting to outline your post for either yourself or your writers in the case where you're outsourcing your writing. This can be really helpful when it comes to giving yourself or your writers direction in terms of what exactly they need to be writing about in order to best fulfill the search intent around the particular question that you're creating content behind. Before I tell you exactly what keyword tool to pair your Also Ask results with, if you're getting value out of this video, do me a favor and hit that like button below. From here, what you're gonna wanna do is combine AlsoAsk.com with your favorite keyword tool. So I personally would like to use Keywords Everywhere here for this sort of search, but what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to hop into Google and I'm gonna search for what is the most popular pass in soccer. And so as I jump in here, what is the most popular pass in soccer? What I'll see is I'll probably see some of the same questions that Also Ask told me, but also you can see how this long tail phrase has zero volume and also zero competition. Something I want you to keep in mind here is that a lot of times this is actually misleading, and if it is a people also ask question, there's almost certainly going to be monthly traffic behind this particular phrase. So in the case where I was actually creating an authoritative site around soccer, I would actually probably go after this phrase because it's super low competition, and I bet you there are a ton of monthly searches that could be easily picked up just by going through the search results here. The reason why I say that is because as I'm going through these search results, I'll zoom in here, but what you can tell is that there isn't really an exact page that is actually answering this piece of this question. And so in this case, what this tells me is that if I were to signal to Google that I have a page on my site that explicitly answers the question, what is the most popular pass in soccer? I would probably have a really high probability chance at ranking in the top 3 results for that particular question. And then I would replicate this process over and over again. So from here, what you'd want to do is you want to go back into AlsoAsk.com, plug in a few of the other questions, look at what the competition might look like, and then from there start to prioritize which content pieces you want to start tackling for your particular site. In the past, I've used this exact method using other tools, just answering the question stems behind who, what, where, when, why, and how questions, and then generated thousands of monthly visits just because nobody else is actually creating content around these particular long tail questions. So if you want to go ahead and try this, what I recommend you do is go after 10 or so of the same question stems. So for example, 10 articles around how content, 10 articles around what content, and so on. And then from there, measure the results after a month or so as to how it looks, and then start to see whether or not you should double down on this strategy. But the takeaway for you here is when you start to look at the branches approach to things, you really start to build out the authority around your particular site, around a particular topic. And so you have to understand that SEO these days is very much around the idea of clusters, and you have to signal to Google that you actually know what you're talking about when it comes to these high-level topics around your niche. So for example, if you were building the soccer site, once you flesh out the passing section, you should also probably cover a section around defense or offense strategies and things like that. The big takeaway I want you to remember from today is to think about the people also ask sections as clusters of keywords that you can create content around, and use tools like Also Ask to figure out exactly what the related questions are that people are searching for. I definitely recommend checking them out right now, especially because they are giving 1,000 free searches. It might not be as generous in the future since a lot of these SEO tools always need to build up their user base before they go paid, but it's definitely something worth checking out today if you're struggling to think about what to write about next. Now it's your turn. Tell me in the comments below if you've ever used a tool like AlsoAsk.com. I love hearing from you guys, and I try to read and respond to every single comment. Be sure to hit that like button below to get your blue thumbs up trophy, and consider subscribing for more content around digital marketing, entrepreneurship, and sales. If you haven't seen my other free videos covering awesome SEO tools that you can check out, be sure to check those out over here, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.